Well, my plan right now was to get some sleep until you came along.
That's not going to happen. Let's talk about another plan. An alternate plan. You tell me what you want to do.
I don't know. Yeah, what
What kind of help you looking for, man?
I'm sorry?
What kind of help you looking for? Let's get you off the street, get you back in this side. What do you want to do? Why are you homeless?
I'm homeless because 10 years ago, a couple of police officers came out to the beach and took my ID. They illegally searched me, didn't arrest me or charge me with a crime, took my ID, and I couldn't get ID for 10 years. And I got it back in October, and I'm now working on trying to get some kind of work. And
So you've been homeless for 10 years because you couldn't.
No, I was homeless for 8 years. It took 2 years after I couldn't get the ID replaced before I became homeless.
So why were you on the beach for those officers to mess with you? You were sleeping out there?
No, I wasn't sleeping.
What were you doing?
I had just got there. It was like 7:30 in the morning, and I went out there, and I hadn't even set up my umbrella or beach blanket yet. And
So before that, you were working, you had a house and all that stuff?
I had an apartment, yeah.
An apartment. So because you didn't have your ID,
Buy your lunch.
because they took your ID,
Thank you.
That's for lunch.
so because they took your ID, you lost your job?
It took almost a year, but yeah, when I couldn't fill out a 99 for the following year,
Why couldn't you fill it out?
because I didn't have the ID that was required
You
to.
don't need.
I don't understand this. Cops are government employees. They work on the books. They have to fill out a 99 every year just like everybody else does.
I mean, we can still go back and forth and play a little game. You're not homeless because the cop took your ID 10 years ago. Come on. That makes sense.
That was how I became homeless.
So why'd you stay homeless? That's the story you want to stick with. That the cop took your ID and you became homeless a year later because of that.
Well, I wasn't able to get it back for 10 years.
Why didn't you just go down and get another duplicate license?
Let me explain to you something. Did you talk about our trespassing laws and all that or no?
Let me
Let me
I'm
explain to you.
trying to get to why he's homeless. Yeah, how we can stop him from being homeless or help him from being homeless. He says 10 years ago the cop took his ID, he was on the beach, and he became homeless a year later, and he stayed homeless all this time.
I don't believe that. Come on. They took your ID, you became homeless, or they took your ID. Doesn't make sense. You gotta come up with a better excuse than that. Okay? What do you want to do with your life? This? What are you doing right now? Okay.
When's the last time you were arrested?
2013. Well, I got hit by a taxi cab crossing the street in the school zone at 3 p.m. in the crosswalk when I had the green pedestrian signal, and police officer making out the accident report ran my ID, and when my homeless identification number came back, he says, "Oh no, you're not getting off the street by filing a suit against this guy," and he arrested me for filing a false police report.
You had bad luck with the police.
That case was dropped.
Where'd that happen? Here in Miami Beach?
That happened at 14th and Washington.
And after all that bad luck, you still hanging out here?
Oh, I'm gonna see if you call some bricks out. No.
Do you want any help? Because this is what we do. We're the homeless outreach office.
Okay.
Right? You come out here, we'll offer you services, we'll try to get you to a shelter, we'll try to get you job assistance.
Okay.
But if you don't want it, that's up to you. But if you don't want any of our help, you're going to go with the alternate plan. put you somewhere that you don't want to be.
Meaning that they county jail. Okay?
So we're here to help first. That's the first thing. We want to help you. If you want to get off the street, we can help you get off the street. We've gotten a bunch of people off the street, into their own places, got a job, the whole nine. But you got to want that for yourself. I can't come over here and make you take it. Mr. Perez, take it. You got to want that for yourself. But if you don't want our help, that's fine. But we have laws that you got to follow. And if you don't follow those laws, the alternative is you may go to jail. That's not what we want. We don't want you to
Okay, so what you're telling me is it's against the law to refuse services.
Oh, not at all. You
never said that.
all the services you want.
Well,
I'm offering it.
you just told me that if I don't accept services, the alternative is to take me to jail. What law am I breaking?
What I told you was, I'm here to offer you services. If you don't want to take services, that's fine. But you have to abide by the laws here in Miami Beach. That's what I'm telling you.
Right.
If you
Okay.
don't abide by those laws, then you may go to jail. I'm not telling you to take services.
Oh, okay. So am I breaking the law in Miami Beach right now?
Right now, you're not breaking the law.
Okay.
We're giving you information.
Trying to help you out. Where do you sleep at nighttime?
I don't. I generally sleep in the daytime.
Okay, what do you do at nighttime? Where do you hang out?
On the street.
What part of the street?
Listen, I'm not trying to get into your business, man. I'm trying to help. I really am trying to help. Maybe you've had some bad experiences with other police officers. I don't know. Today, I'm trying to help you.
Okay.
If you don't want to help, that's on you. But I am legitimately trying to help you. If you need job assistance, you need some services, you need to learn how to get back into the job market. I don't know what kind of skills you have. We can help out with a lot of different things. We get people, you can get you to your own apartment. Did you get a monthly check?
No.
Have you ever worked?
Yeah.
What did you do when you worked?
I dispatched for 8 years. I drove a cab before that. I was a night auditor at a hotel for 7 years. I bar backed for 5 years.
So you've been in multiple jobs. How old are you now?
61.
What about your social security? Are you going to be able to get that?
Presumably I'll be able to get it once I become old enough.
62. You don't get as much as you will at 67, but you can get it at 62. You should have some money coming in every month. We got subsidies, so you can use that money plus the subsidy to get you an apartment.
Okay, when I turn 62, I'll
We don't need to wait until you're 62. Let's start the process. We can start the process now. So that when you turn 62, boom, everything's all set. You're ready to go. Just collect.
This is what we're gonna do, man. So listen, you don't want any help right now, right? You don't want to go to 555 17th Street. I can take you there, drop you off.
I've been there. That's how I got the ID.
Let me explain to you a couple of rules, regulations, in Miami Beach, okay? Are you recording?
Yeah.
Good. I'm recording too. So we're on the
Hope
same
so.
page, so then this doesn't go back and forth that we didn't talk to each other and we explained everything. The park is closed from sunset to sunrise. You cannot be on the park. Not this park, any park in Miami Beach, okay? The beach is closed from 10 p.m. to 5 in the morning. You can be on our beach from South Point all the way to 87th Street. It's closed. If you're found on the beach, you're subject to arrest. If you're trespassing when the park is closed, you're going to get arrested.
Okay, as far as the hours of the park,
Yeah.
there is no physical barrier to its entry. There is no sign. They took down the sign that said 10 p.m. and it wasn't replaced with one that said sunset. And the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Cook versus Washington, D.C., 1992, that a public park cannot close at any time of the day or night unless there's a physical barrier to entry. Okay? It's moot for us to argue this because I'm not in the park after sunset.
All
yeah.
we did was explain to you what the laws are in Miami Beach. We're not going to go back and forth with Cook versus Washington and whatever the court opinions that you are citing. These are the laws of Miami Beach. If you get arrested for breaking one of those laws, then you're more than welcome to put that defense on in the court. That's not where we want to go with this.
That's it for part one. I had to cut it over here because YouTube only allows me 15-minute uploads. So I split it about in half. Stay tuned for part 2. Here are some highlights.
Matter of fact, we're going to take this gentleman over here right now. Why don't you go with us?
So what's the problem with my going over there on my own?
Because you're not going to do it. You and I both know you're not going to do it.
Chances are you're not going to do it on your own.
You're not going to do it.
Okay, so now that I've enticed you with the teaser, we can end the video. Stay tuned for part 2. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification, leave a comment in the comment section to help the algorithm. And I'll see you in part 2. I'm out.